right. So hello, everyone, and happy 7/10. Welcome to the Cannabis Podcast, brought to you by the Georgia Medical Cannabis Society and the Hemp House. So in this podcast, we'll be bringing you multiple series that will include sharing people's stories about cannabis, their CannaShame stories, and information about cannabis news and much more. And we'll be doing this every other Saturday at 7:10. So get ready. So to get us started, I would like to take a moment to introduce the host of the show. I'm Angela Weston, and we also have Yolanda Bennett, and we're both the co-founders of the Georgia Medical Cannabis Society. Because we also have our other hosts, Tianna Smith and Arica Jefferson of the Hemp House.
Hey.
So wow, guys, it is actually 7/10/2021, y'all. So just kind of give you a little background about 7/10. Tianna, you want to kick it off just a little bit?
Sure. So, 7/10, it came fast this year. I feel like, like the year has been kind of flying by. But I know that 7/10 is pretty similar to what they say 4/20 is, like the stoner holiday. However, we are always here to kind of change that stigma, right? Because nothing wrong with being a stoner holiday, but with the times that we're going through, we also know that it is the term for oil day, because if you flip the 7/10 over or upside down, you get oil. Really, really cool. So we call it Compassion Day out here. I know there are a lot of different organizations that are, either down at the Capitol or doing something really local in the community, but it's really a holiday for showing the usage and the consumption of consuming cannabis oil products, dabs, or even concentrates for medical purposes or even recreational purposes. So here we are today, and I am super happy to be able to share this moment with y'all ladies.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I guess I'm gonna chime in too. I did not really know about 7/10, in all honesty. Still learning, and that's the beautiful thing about this space and who you connect with. You want to connect with people who know a lot, and so it's just amazing to connect with all of these women and their knowledge and be able to impart that upon us. So thank y'all for teaching me. I just want to say that. And I know here in Georgia, they've really been, the first bill was just about oil. It was, people could only get oil. And even now, we're not allowed to have flower. It's still everything is still based on, except the hemp, but as far as like medical grade cannabis, it's still about oil. So I guess it's kind of twofold. We're celebrating, like Tianna said, it can be a dab stoner celebration because there's much to celebrate and we always want to celebrate the plant. But it's also a lot to learn about what the oil does, of course, as a plant, as the medicine, but what the legalities are around it. In your state, because we know it's all still fresh. So we, as much as we enjoy, we need to learn. So it's nothing wrong with enjoying, but we need to be learning as well. So that's what I'm gonna be celebrating because I've already learned today.
Let me go ahead and add to that. The downfall about 7/10 here in Georgia is the fact of the matter that we still have no way of getting the oil legally.
No way of getting oil.
That's right.
Talk about it. Right.
It's like, yeah, we can celebrate, but we can't really just say, hey, where am I getting the oil from? Because we get those questions all the time. But as far as I'm like, with the commission and stuff, still with the licensing, they're still waiting for the licenses to happen here in Georgia. But where are we supposed to get the oil from? Technically, it's still, not technically, it's still the Wild West here. It's still the Wild West in Georgia.
Yeah.
Legally, how can we get the oil? How? We can have it. That's basically saying Georgia has given us a license to drive, but it's illegal to have a car or purchase a car on the car lot.
Great way of putting that.
Yes. Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. But okay, I'm sorry. I didn't.
No, you're fine. I mean, that's pretty much why we're here.
Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And that is one of the reasons why we are here, today with this too. And each state is different. Kind of looking at some of the states that actually have dispensaries like Maryland. And that's where I'm attending school now, virtually, of course, in Maryland. But the thing about that, listening to, some of my classmates talk about going to the dispensaries to get their medication and so forth, and understanding that we don't even have that opportunity here. So we don't even have safe access. People are still concerned about where it's coming from. Is it safe? Or do you even know what you're getting? What's mixed into it? That's huge. And so we definitely need to move forward with getting the laws changed and being able to have the commission grant these licenses to be able to grow, so we can start having some manufacturing of the cannabis here, so that we'll be able to have safe access in Georgia. And that's very, very important. And not just Georgia, and other states as well, who are trying to get their programs underway. It's a plant, people. It's a plant, and so many people are afraid of that plant because there's such a stigma behind it and so much history. People don't even realize that they're back in what is like 1937. Prior to that, it was actually legal. It was actually in the pharmacy books and so forth. So people were using it for medicinal purposes and other, various reasons. But for some reason, and we know those reasons, and they're out there. And that's something we'll also be talking about going forward in this podcast as well, about some of those reasons why cannabis became illegal. So that's something we'll be looking at going forward, as just kind of looking at all the information and bringing that to the forefront. I'm trying to break that stigma, or as we say, stop the CannaShame. So kind of moving on forward with that, why we want to kick off this particular podcast.
So
I'm sorry.
You got a little more?
No, I was just going to say, if not for nothing, like really focusing on what people are saying behind this oil, because people use CBD every single day. Like, we are talking about the same damn plant. You feel me? So like when we talk about Compassion Day or Oil Day, let's not forget about all the other oils that are playing a huge part, with this plant as well. It's frustrating, because it should be looked at as an entire thing as opposed to something separate. So that's all I wanted to kind of say. Go ahead.
Yeah, because sometimes you need more. Because with me personally, I have to have all types for my condition. I have.
There's more than one condition.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's different methods of ingestion. With the methods of ingestion, I know Angela can elaborate on that a little bit more, as far as, as far as the ingestion and how it goes with sublingual, inhalation, topical, all these other different ingestion methods. And, I need them all, including topicals, because, you have a hurt leg, because I have arthritis in every joint of my body, all the way to the tips of my fingers. And having, I can tell it's about to rain now. I can tell it's about to rain, but, topicals really do help, and for me, it doesn't cause that elevation or the oh, I'm sorry.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
Y'all know what I'm talking about. But I'm a little tongue-tied. Now you because I know a lot of y'all are saying, well, this is the most she's ever really said. But
we're so proud of you.
Thank you. But yeah, I'm sorry. I'm go ahead and throw it back out to y'all. But yeah.
But that's the whole part of it. We do need, multiple methods of being able to use the plant, I would say, because things work differently for everybody, the way your body makeup, and not even just that. Weight, all those things come into play when it comes down to how much you need and what you need. So it basically just comes to we need multiple methods. As simple as that. We need multiple methods to be able to use it, not just oil, because oil does work, but it is not for everybody. And even when it comes down to CBD, even though CBD is that legal, part of the cannabis, but a lot of people don't even know that in your body, CBD can be changed to THC.
Yeah.
They don't even realize that, that once you ingest it, when your body metabolizes, when it's metabolized in your liver, it can actually be changed to THC. So, so we have people who are testing positive or thinking, okay, I'm working in corporate America, and I can go to work by using this CBD, and then they get drug tested and now they're positive, and I don't want to say dirty because I don't like that word anymore, but I want to say they're testing positive. And they don't even realize the reason why they tested positive is because at CBD, when they took that CBD, it changed.
And
it
also,
became
I'm
THC in
sorry,
their body.
was it the last?
Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, and also hemp oil, the legal hemp oil, CBD oil, already, it still has a level of THC in it, even if it's below that threshold, right? That makes it legal. So regardless, and that's what a lot of these companies out here that have, what do you call it, like certified, CBD, that they can prove the certification. And they tell you that. They say, listen, I'm not liable if you go ahead and get a drug test. If it's testing for Delta 9 or this specific THC level, you might get picked up and say that you got THC in your system, which is another reason why this is an issue and we need to push for different, you know what I'm saying, like different reform of laws.
Yeah.
So I love that.
Even on the federal level. It's like, because what's happening now is we're nitpicking. We're nitpicking cannabinoids. We're nitpicking consumption form. We're nitpicking all of these various things about the plant. We're nitpicking how we take the money. We're nitpicking who can be on the stock market. It's a lot of nitpicking going on because it's not federal. And when you have it on the states, we have it on the state level, you can do a whole lot of different kind of things. You can nitpick.
Even who can consume it.
Who can consume it, how it can be consumed, the way it can be produced. Again, the idiocy of, as Yolanda so eloquently said, getting a driver's license, the state allowing you to get a driver's license, but not allowing you to get a car or gasoline. You understand? That is what the states do. If the feds just say, everybody get cars, it's legal for everybody to have cars, it's legal for everybody to have gas, it's legal for everybody to get a driver's license, now monetize that, do capitalism on that, then you open it up and it would be almost asinine for people to nitpick because now you're limiting your economic growth.
Right.
So if the feds would quit playing, then that would just move us exponentially leaping bounds, and we don't have to get into the conversation of whether I can smoke or whether I have to have a topical, depending on what state I'm in, and depending on what color I am, and depending on who I know.
And if you think about that too, you think about those of us who are medical cannabis patients. The whatever's allowed in our state. So think about when we have to travel for work or just travel for leisure. You're bringing your medication with you that's legal in the state that you're in, and now you have to go and figure out what the laws are in this other state because now you cross the state line and now you're illegal in this state, but you were legal in your own.
Don't think travel decisions ain't getting made. So
and then what if you need your medication in that next state? If that dispensary doesn't allow you to come in using your medical card to be able to get it, so now you're over here on vacation in New Jersey, because you cannot get your medicine because what you're able to use in your state you brought with you is illegal and you can't get it somewhere else. So legal across the board definitely needs to happen and happen on a federal level and quickly.
Let me tell you how wild that rule is, right? Or that law or whatever. So I have a Georgia cannabis card, medical card. I also have a California cannabis card. I'm in New Jersey, which is a legal state, my home state, right? I can't get, or legally, I cannot, because you can't buy marijuana there because even though it's legal, it hasn't been set up, yet. So there's no recreation, there's medical, but it's not a reciprocal state. So I cannot walk in a dispensary with 2 cards from, from legal state or medically legal states and get medicine. It's mind blowing. But if I got to call cousin and them.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
It's called that Malcolm X.
Yeah.
Y'all know about that Malcolm X?
What?
Y'all know about that Malcolm X?
About it real quick.
Tell us about it.
Oh, it's real short. It's called by that any means necessary.
That's what I'm saying.
There you go.
Yeah,
That's
that
it.
Malcolm X. Yeah,
That's it.
that Malcolm X.
That's
By
it.
that
That's
any means
it.
necessary.
Now, and you know that's how we get down, but what about the person who, and we can go back to this CannaShame, right?
Okay.
Like, what about the person who has hesitations of doing that and they feel as though that they should be able to, you know, do it legally? I mean,
should is on the opposite end of by any means necessary.
Yeah.
Should is the opposition of by any means necessary.
Yes.
Any means necessary shows up because should did not
It
abide.
did not happen. Right.
Right.
So should is it's even more of a fairy tale than a fair.
Yeah.
You know, should is even further down the fairy tale line than fair.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I mean, it's like so unfortunate. And yes, there is a shame, but you got it. Let's even talk about it, right? Going back to the CannaShame in 1990s in California, when all of those people led the way, and they was, you know, getting in the 80s with the AIDS and cancer patients, when that was really the push, right, to get cannabis to them. And those folks and those organizations who were making deliveries on bikes was getting it from us on the block and taking a chance and serving it to the cancer patients and the AIDS patients because of exactly what you said, T. They were either ill-equipped, didn't have the connections, didn't know to play, was scared. This in the 80s and the 90s. Now that to us, because of depending on your community, that may not mean nothing, but we talking California, we talking a different time. You know, these people were very afraid. It was stigmatized to have AIDS. It was stigmatized to be sickly. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to say sickly, but you know, appear as though you were not healthy.
Yeah, right. Not well, right.
It wasn't even a judgment. It was just, if you appear to not be healthy, there was a stigma you were stigmatized in some way, whether it was drugs or ailment or whatever. Mm-hmm. So this in the 80s and in the 90s, they was doing this. They was hitting the ab and making those plays for the people who were exactly like you said, Tianna, were afraid and didn't have, as we say, and as you ladies so eloquently say, safe access. Yeah. And so even their fight, and that's why I understand a lot of the people who have been in the fight for a long time, they get indignant about new people joining the fight and they feel a little possessive about the fight. I get it, because I do get it. Y'all were the ones living in California, making the plays for your friends and your homies who did not have the safe access, on bikes and starting up those organizations. And we salute you.
We salute you. Mad respect.
Oh,
but we're moving forward.
We're moving forward. And at the same time,
we now are not, you can be on bike, you know, it's an option, but now you can be on cars. Yeah. And now it's not just in the play is just not in the blocks and on the streets and coming from brown people. Now the plays is coming from white folks in dispensaries who got connects, and we can't, you know what I'm saying? And like they homies, and it was so convoluted.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's why you just gotta be by any means necessary, because you can't let the convolution stop you.
Right.
From getting your medicine. You can't let the confusion stop you.
I think a lot of them are grateful for the new, I call it new fighters, you know, this new kind of fighters, because I know it's tiring. I haven't been in the fight that long. It's been a few years. You feel me? So I know it's tiring. So if anybody is saying, hey, I'm ready to fight with you, come on, because you bring a different fight than I can bring. Right. And to be honest, like, I truly feel that the people that are, you know, we have some that are in the industry that you kind of got to look at their intentions. But once you can feel that out, like, we're light workers in this space because it's so needed. And, you know, going back to the podcast, like the CannaShame, like this generation of thinkers you know, we start this generation of thinkers, but the younger generation, they are the brave ones. They are working towards being brave and being resilient and telling people, no, this is bull crap. You know what I'm saying? I saw my auntie, I saw my mom beat cancer. I saw my, you know, my dad, you know, cure this, or I saw the fact that they were able to get along in my house because they are chill and they're able to talk through things. And now they're on a whole spiritual level that we can sit back and be like, we've done our job. And that's why we are stopping this whole CannaShame.
Yes.
So here we are.
Yeah.
I love it.
Absolutely.
Oh, I love it.
But
I guess with that being said, Angela, you want to talk about the podcast?
I mean, I'm like, okay, yeah, we just went out everywhere else, you know.
I do want to go ahead and say this is the perfect day to start this podcast. I think this is amazing. I think it's divine. I think it's, I don't believe in coincidence. Y'all will hear me say that 1,000 times because I believe it 1,000 times over. So I think it's all divine that all this happened. And like I said earlier, I've already learned so much. And this is the first day of the show. So that is very, very impressive. And again, I thank you, ladies. So I think this is the perfect time to really get into talking about the first series that you guys are going that we are going to launch on the CannaShame podcast, which is Dream Deferred. We've all on this podcast have had a dream deferred or 2 or 20. We'll get into that as the series goes along. It's going to be a ride. So we're going to have several episodes. We're going to hear from and discuss stories about athletes, moms, parents in professional industries who have all had individuals, everybody who have had their dreams deferred for using this natural plant called cannabis. So I want to toss it to the group. We've kind of been throwing out a little bit of the word CannaShame. I want to start with you, Yolanda, and I want to ask you, like, you know, why is it for us to be having the conversation about CannaShame? I think, like I said, we kind of hit on it, but like really specifically, why do you think it is so important?
Yeah, as far as the CannaShame, I'm gonna tell you about that term. Was actually on Facebook, and I commented on a post, and the first thing the person had told me was, look, you know, hey, here's the problem, you know, look at them, you know, look at the profile picture, because at the time my profile picture had a frame with a cannabis leaf on it. And so I was like, the way that it made me feel is like I was connecting with some things in the universe, and I was like, you know what? I'm not the only one that feels some type of way as far as somebody trying to, you know, shame me for a plant that I use for my medical condition. And the reason why, you know, the CannaShame came about for me, you know, to, you know, actually pretty much to get the ball rolling and to try and combine with other people was to try, you know, because I know we can't do it by ourselves, you know. Yes, we're new to this. We're brand new to, you know, the cannabis scene, only because of our condition. And we realized this plant is actually healing. It does heal. I mean, I was one of the ones, I used to CannaShame. Oh my God, I used to CannaShame. All of a sudden, I mean, I'm telling you, I'm that talk now. I'm that talk. Put it out there. I'm finna go ahead and say it out there to everybody that I actually CannaShame. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry because of the stigma that's attached to it, because I know how I used to feel about it. So I apologize to every one of you all. I apologize because I didn't know, and it came from lack of knowledge. And with lack of knowledge is ignorance that comes to, you know, the cannabis. I didn't know no better. You know what I mean? When you don't know no better, you know, you start putting out this, and that's so important about this cannabis. You know, the CannaShame podcast is very important. I'm telling you, it's very important because we want the calls and stuff that we get. You know, when I work the phones, people call me, and I'm gonna tell you, they call me, it's like they're calling in the closet, and I knew that they needed some help. I knew they needed help. It's like, you know, they wanted some type of relief. And that's another reason why I'm upset by the fact there's no access to medical cannabis. But to actually have somebody call you on the phone, I'm having this problem. Where can I get this from? Or you got another caller that's calling, whispering on the phone.
Right.
Yeah.
They're whispering, they're calling me. Or if I call back, oh no, I didn't call you. No, you got the wrong number. But then it ends up turning into an hour-long conversation of you asking me questions about this plant that you didn't call me about, trying to find out about access and how to get your medical cannabis card. This right here, because I didn't know in the beginning.
Yeah.
In the beginning, and I was introduced to this, and I knew I was leery, you know, like y'all was talking about earlier with the wild, it's the wild west right now. It's no way, no place to get your oil here in Georgia. It's no place. And with that being said, it's desperation out here. People are doing some crazy stuff just trying to get it. But these Canna angels, Canna warriors, what's out there, I salute you all for assuming the risk the same way that these doctors are assuming the risk on your life with these different pharmaceuticals. The risk itself is not as far as the production of the, you know, the medical. Y'all know what I'm trying to say. As far as when you look, I'm sorry. Look, you good. You good. Okay. But like I said, I know I can get on around.
Yes.
And you already know what I'm gonna say. I ain't come to preach, but since I'm here, okay,
well, look, I just want to say, on behalf of the person and the people that have been judged, because I've been smoking for a long time, you know, and you know, this is me coming out the closet, okay, bam. Okay.
All right.
So, yep.
Okay.
Welcome.
17 at 1. It's almost 111, and y'all know that's the angel number.
All right.
I mean, the angels is with me. So, you know, I done been everywhere. I done did every regular thing. I done been on every date. And I done been judged by everybody. You know what I'm saying? And I want you to know, as the master teacher, Miss Ayala says, it don't break you. You're fine. But we forgive you because we understand. Because it saved me a long time ago.
Right.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? It kept me it calmed me down and kept me out of a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
I could have got in way more trouble than I got in. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I found it early. I'm thankful for it. And, you know, we forgive you. We forgive you. And I'm going to tell you, because them folks, them baby boomers, them folks who smoke and weed, all them drugs in the 60s, in the 70s had the audacity to tighten up and just put the clamps and buy into the establishment they have been fighting against their whole entire youth. And so, you know, now they're on the other side, right? They retired, they 68, 70, in their 80s, they like,
right.
I know I've been smoking since been smoking. You was like, well, why was you like, don't do this, don't do this. Why was you doing all that? Well, you know, they was locking us up and the crack and weed and
that shows you the
level
of it.
There was another level of survival that had to take place. There was a level of survival that had to take place with the folks that was getting caught from the continent, brought over. There was a certain level of fight that had to take place once they got here. It was a certain level of fight that had to take place once we got free.
Right.
We started on that. It was a certain level of fight during Reconstruction. It was a certain level of fight during the 80s. And goddamn, it's a certain level of fight right now. You know,
you can't, so that means, and it makes it easier. Like when I think of the CannaShame, it makes it easier to meet people where they are, because there's a certain level of grace, right? That you meet the people that we're talking about, the boomers or whatever, my parents, grandparents, because you know what they've been through. So, you know, people are always like, you know, as soon as I meet you, like, hi, I'm Tianna Smith and I love cannabis. Like, I'm like, no, is it that serious? Do I really come off like that? Like, yeah, it seems like it. You wear the thing around your neck. And I'm like, because I want people to know that it has saved me. You know what I mean? But I'm not trying to really push it down your throat. But when you see me, I'm going to talk about it. There's no shame here. And I think that's really what it is, to be just as normal as talking about why the sky is blue, to be as normal as saying, you know, well, I take my vitamins daily because I have no joy, right? Well, I take cannabis daily. Like,
I say my ashwagandha, I say my turmeric, and I take my cannabis.
You know me, like I'm on a whole regimen. So it should be something, I think the whole CannaShame, or stopping that CannaShame and the stigma, is making it as normal as it possibly can be. And that's why I like it, because we're talking about that whole dream deferred, like that is an everyday thing, for normal people, you know? So I don't know. I'm super excited about the series. I don't know what happened over
and
here.
then even moving back into, we talking about that dream deferred in the entire CannaShame. I'm actually, well, some of you already know that I'm actually in school right now, and I'm studying medical cannabis science and therapeutics at the University of Maryland in Baltimore. But here's the thing about CannaShame. When it came down to asking my job about tuition reimbursement, you know, I'm not going to name the company, but I work for the company that's in the healthcare industry. And to me, when we're talking medical cannabis, we're talking healthcare. But I wasn't able to get my tuition reimbursement because cannabis is not legal. But here's the thing. When I went to ask, there was a shame in me even mentioning, you know, it's more or less like, well, what are you going to school for? Medical cannabis science. It was like a whisper, because I was afraid to even say it. Why? Working for a company, and not a bad company. I'll put that up, not a bad company at all. But of course, you know, they have their rules and they follow, you know, laws and so forth. But it's just the idea of me being in a situation where I feel that I felt shameful about even saying that that's what I was going to school for. But also because it's not legal, and it's a substance that actually does help people in that medical realm, to say that my tuition reimbursement was denied. So for me, that was almost a dream deferred, you know, but I had to find other means to be able to go to school, like draining my 401k to pay for it, because it's what I actually wanted to do. So when we talk about any means necessary, that's exactly what I did. Why? Because I want to know more about this plant. I want to know more about the endocannabinoid system. I want to know more about how it's actually helping people, because I know it helped me. Yes, I have my medical cannabis card, and I know that I'm no longer taking gabapentin because of that. And I know what gabapentin did to me. One day I'm sitting at work, I popped this pill because that was prescribed to me. And I'm talking to a coworker, and all of a sudden I start slurring.
I'm about to say,
couldn't even function, you know, and just knowing that I'm no longer taking that medication because I have my medical cannabis oil that I can actually use. So why should I be ashamed to be able to say that? So that's something that I definitely want to see, especially in the professional realm, which is also going to be one of a portion of our series that we're going to be talking about, being in that professional realm, being a cannabis user, being able to go to your job and be okay saying that you're a cannabis user, and not be afraid to mention it because you have a fear that you could possibly lose your job if anybody knows, you know. So that's why all of this is so important, and why it's very personal, and I'm very passionate about this because of that, you know. But again, by any means necessary, I'm gonna learn about this plant, whether they pay for it or not, whether I had to give up something to go ahead and do that, you know. I mean, if it's can of beanie weenies and I, you know, whatever, I'm gonna do this because I know what this plant did for me, what this plant has done for people around me. And I want to know as much as I can to educate people, because that's a big part of it. A lot of people have this stigma about cannabis because they're uneducated about this plant. Why are you afraid of the plant that grows out of the ground? Are you afraid of the grass in your front yard? Are you afraid of your bush in your front yard? No. So why would you be afraid of this plant that comes that's grown naturally out of the ground that can actually that has medicinal purposes and that connects with our system? We have an endocannabinoid system, people. You know, why do we have one? And also, if you stop and think about it, why does cannabis stay in your system longer than some of the other
talk that talk. Tell them.
Because of that endocannabinoid system. So this is where we come, you know, where it comes into play in having this podcast and being able to educate people so that we can stop the stigma, stop the CannaShame, allow people to come out that closet, allow people to make calls. You know, when Yolanda answers that phone and you leave a message. And when she calls you back, I didn't call you. Well, how did I get your number? You know, how did I get your name? Because you did call. But maybe when they called back, when she called them back, they were in the room with a family member or they were somewhere else where I can't talk about this right now. Why? You need help. You know, if you go to the doctor and nobody's ashamed to say, I take an opioid, you know? So why do you have to be ashamed about taking a natural plant that can do what the opioids do without harming your body or being addictive like an opioid is? So that's why this is very important what we're actually doing. And I'm really, really excited about what we have coming forward with all of this and how we're going to be able to bring people in and have them share their stories about how they were CannaShamed or how their dream was actually deferred. And then as we go along further and further in this podcast, being able to bring other types of series in where we can start talking about the cannabis laws and what needs to be changed and being able to bring more people out for advocacy. Because the more people we have out here, you know, I know we had our older people or our OGs, as I want to call them, who were out there. But right now, we need everybody on this train, because the more people on the train, the more we can get things done. We need people to go out and talk to their Congress people. We need people to just get out there and talk to people in general in society and just talk to them about this plant so we can end this. Because a number of people are just afraid because they do not know.
Yep.
Right. Don't come if you're coming for yourself.
Don't come.
Exactly.
This ain't that.
This is not that kind. No.
This ain't that, and that ain't this. If you doing it for yourself and yourself, like, because when you do it for yourself, that means you don't care on stepping on the community to get to where you're going. And I'm, you know, I know I've probably been looking all over the place, but I don't even know if I look like I'm looking in the camera. But I want to be looking like I'm looking in the camera because it need to be real clear. Go find somebody else for that.
Yeah. We can feel it, especially when you have a group of genuine cannabis users. You know, that's a whole spiritual connection.
Yes.
We can feel it.
Because all of it's connected. Yeah. You know, I know we're going to eventually talk about religion and spirituality and all that kind of stuff and cannabis and, you know, all of that. But I believe it's all connected. You know what I'm saying? And if I ain't came to preach.
But since you're here.
We love to burn a sage to kill a spirit. They gave Jesus incense. Come on now. They burn incense in Buddhism and Taoism and in every religion. Okay, they smoke weed over there with the Rastafari. Okay, if they doing it, it was done for the natural to commune with the gods. So yeah, I don't even know where I was going, but that hit my spirit. But
I'm with you. I'm with you.
You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to say that. So, I know T was talking about how it's a whole spiritual thing. You know what I'm saying? But I'm going to just backtracking again, I'll bring it full circle and say, you know, we are about a community. And y'all going to learn about all this community we about. You know, the Georgia Medical Society and the Hemp House, we've been about this community from the beginning. And that is why we are together building this community. Okay, but if you hear me well, because you know I'm a user and my patience is still short. Keep it over there. This is a community. We are about team. We are about everybody.
Yeah.
Not singular. They, us, we, not me, me. Keep it somewhere else. I just want to say that.
Oh,
As we were inviting people in, I know, sometimes I realize,
It's fine. Look, and then with that being said, now I gotta invite everybody to the.
I be coming out the boundary out of nowhere. You know what I'm saying? They're like so upbeat, then you have to come with the threat like that. But
No, that's real.
when we get to talking about everybody and all, I want to be clear that everybody and all is still a section of, who we want. We want people that's really care,
yes.
and really passionate about the plant and whatever they bring to the table, and not passionate about themselves. That's what I know about all y'all on this podcast right now. That's what I know about y'all. Ain't none of y'all about self. All of y'all
not at all.
is about the community. You know what I'm saying? No matter what nobody's seeing, no matter what anybody say, I know. And my word is bond. So, that's what I know. And we're gonna align and we're gonna bring people out, and eliminate the CannaShame with that same exact energy. And it takes that type of love and that type of from me, I guess I should say for me and to me and from me, it takes that type of passion and that type of intense love to say it's cool to be you, no matter what that looks like. Whether you want to smoke or don't smoke, so what? Nobody cares.
Nobody cares.
And we love you regardless. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Don't judge us, and we're not gonna judge y'all. And life is good.
But to add on to that, before I forget, because like I say, sometimes my short-term memory is a little off. What you were saying, what our collaboration together, what we were trying to do with the Georgia Medical Cannabis Society and the Hemp House is gold. We're announcing gold too. That's what I'm saying. Y'all was leading up to where we at now about the gold. So Arica, you want to go ahead and tell a little bit about the gold? Look, since you're preaching, you might as well go ahead and bring it on home and open up the doors.
Oh my God. Okay. Well, can I get a share screen?
Yeah.
Can I get a share screen?
Hold up. You know what? This technology. Y'all go ahead and keep talking. And I'm gonna figure it out. I'm gonna share it in just a second. Hold on, this technology.
All right. I'm gonna keep leading up to it. I'm gonna keep leading up to it.
I'm getting it together. Go ahead and build.
We at the Hemp House, I'm gonna talk a little bit about our each individual organizations. Mm-hmm. We at the Hemp House, we've always been about community from the beginning, bringing different, the educational piece, the wellness piece, the community piece, all together. We had so many grandiose ideas. Everybody knows it started with Tianna and her spirit, and when she, defeated or I don't know how I should describe it, T. How you
by carrying my information on that.
Yes, how you just emerged and was wonderful and had a vision to start this space for people who suffer with illnesses that the world didn't know about and had never heard of, And so she worked, her and her husband, Zim, to kind of bring this whole idea to fruition. And then, God sent us each other, and we've been trying to work to build this community since, I know, T, how long it's been with you? Since like 2007, right?
We're going into 2022.
Well, you and I have been together since 2018. I mean, since 2019, but the Hemp House, the idea came after your surgery,
it was
right?
the very end of 2018 that we came on, guys.
The very end of 2018.
Like December, so pretty much January 2019. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Georgia, well, actually, Angela, I'm gonna let you talk about the Georgia Medical Cannabis Society.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry.
No, don't worry. We're
That's
doing
all right. While you're doing that, we can still keep rolling along and talking about it. So, with the Georgia Medical Cannabis Society, or GMCS as we call it for short, we came about a few years ago after becoming cannabis users, basically. Finding out that when we were able to get the cannabis card, and the first thing was finding out where we could get the cannabis card. That was major. I only knew of one person where we could actually go, and then found other doctors as we kind of went along with that. But not having the resources that we needed to be able to either find it or find the doctor to be able to do the evaluation is how this basically got started. We realized that, well, I would say this, put this out there. When we originally started, we were, by any means necessary, finding our medicine. Okay. And we realized how expensive it was, and knew that if we were, trying to get this medication and had such a significant cost, that other people who were having that same issue. There were people out there who needed it and couldn't afford it. So originally what we had done was we created an organization where we would get it for ourselves, for one, but we would also purchase enough that we actually share with other people. So like elderly people who needed it, couldn't afford it. We were giving it away is what we were actually doing. And when we went to get our 501, we found out that we were doing something illegal and didn't even know. We were just trying to help people. That's all we were doing. Like, people can't afford it, they can't get it. You have it, here you go. Not selling it, because we knew we can't sell it, but didn't realize that giving it away was the problem too. So we had to actually stop doing that just to be able to get our 501, but be able to have it put in there that, once it becomes legal, that we could work on getting the funding to be able to help those people who are unable to afford it. So basically that's how we came along with this organization, was wanting to educate and wanted to make sure that people who did not have were able to get it, who couldn't afford it were able to get it. So that's just the I would say the high level overview of our organization. But of course, as we've come along, we're looking at doing other things, but the entire premise of everything is basically helping the people in the community. So that's what we're pretty much all about, is helping those people get acclimated to cannabis itself. Number one, get education, but also right now what we're doing is we're building a database of providers. So that when people contact us and they don't know where to go to get their card, we have a list of doctors who either take insurance, ones who don't take insurance. So we'll know exactly what they need. So they'll have all the information when they go to those providers. They have it all up front, where they're not having to wait long, getting there and finding out you need more than what you brought with you, or, for your medical records and so forth. We break it down as to how much it's going to cost when you go to this provider. So we're still building that network and looking for other providers to add to our network all across the state of Georgia for right now. But we're looking at this being an international thing, having other states and where other providers connected. So when people actually even go from one state to another, they can connect with the provider at that particular point. So it's not just in Georgia. We're doing it in Georgia now because that's where we've started. But of course, we're looking at, doing some other things and bringing it more on an international level so that we can help people all around, because that's what our main focus is patients. And our motto is patients over profits. So it's more of helping the people before the dollar. Of course, it's a hard road, because right now we're self-funded. So everything that we do right now comes out of pocket. It's difficult for people to donate because we have cannabis in our name. It's difficult for us to be talking about a dream deferred. We can't even get a bank account because we have cannabis in our name. So it's difficult for people to even donate to us in that realm. So right now, everything is out of pocket. So there things that we're doing, but that's how passionate we are about helping people, because we're taking a hit out of pocket to do a number of things that we actually do. So that's just the high level overview about GMCS and what we actually do.
So I guess we can go ahead and let it wrap it on up then. Go ahead, Tianna, wrap it on up. course.
Well, I mean, thank y'all. Like first, just thank you ladies for being so wonderful, doing what you do. Arica, you included. You are my road dog. I don't know what I would do without y'all. But anyway, it's been an amazing conversation. Way to celebrate, Oil Day. Our next podcast, just to let y'all know, is going to be July 24th at 7:10, same time. We're going to kick things off with our very first episode of the Dream Deferred that we were kind of talking about today. So our Dream Deferred series, it will be talking about cannabis and athletics. If you would like to share your story, please, please, please reach out to us. Reach out to info@georgiamcs.org, or you can just simply shoot us a direct message on Instagram, and our Instagram handle is @thehempHouseATL. We look forward to sharing and growing and building with every last one of you all. And remember, you can always be freed from the CannaShame, So until next time, peace and plants and much love.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.